Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ann Auburn from the Natural Health Improvement Center, and tonight I want to talk to you about how to supercharge your immune system and improve your health. So let's get started. Maintaining a strong immune system is key to staying healthy and protecting your immune system from everyday challenges. So how do we do this? Well, it was a wake-up call the last 2 to 3 years, and hopefully for all Americans. If anything could alert us to the need for better health, this was a loud and resounding message. It's time to get healthy and stay healthy. So let's talk about how to do that. What really is immunity? Well, immunity is the end result of many mechanisms in the body that protects against infection, disease by identifying, neutralizing, and disposing of foreign substances. That could be a bacteria, a virus, a parasite, whatever. Simply put, though, the immune system distinguishes self from not self. This is part of the body's self-healing capacity. So really, we are meant to heal. We have an amazing network of white blood cells, proteins, receptors, messengers from the nervous system, glandular responses, plus built-in responses from your genes. These messages go out to every tissue, every second of every day, finding, repairing, neutralizing, and disposing of foreign invaders. Because of this intricate system, the body remains relatively healthy, even in the face of cuts, scrapes, accidents, toxic exposures, bacteria, viruses, and overindulgences. Wish I could say I didn't have any of those, but I occasionally do. So immunity and spontaneous healing, it really is a thing. In the book, Spontaneous Healing by Andrew Weil, MD, he discusses the body's ability to heal itself. He describes the body's ability to literally find and fix abnormally placed amino acids in your DNA. The body has the ability to find these mistakes and correct them miraculously. I think the body is miraculous, and I'm amazed day in and day out on what it can do if we just give it a little chance. So what helps make a healthy immune system? I'm going to say this over and over in several different ways so that hopefully by the time you get to the end of this hour-long or 45-minute long lecture, you'll understand how much goes into it and what you can do about it. So there's three main things, according to my friend Dr. David Brownstein, who wrote this fantastic book called A Holistic Approach to Viruses. If you don't have a copy, it's a great way to learn more about your immune system. So I took a few things from his book, put it together what I've seen over the years and learned over the last 25 plus years of doing integrative medicine. So the three things are nutrients, oxygen, and rest. And you can see I've put a few examples here. And I'll go into this in a little bit more detail, but nutrients, mostly it's food. It's what you put in your body. Vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D3, zinc, iodine, quercetin, antioxidants, other immune boosters, and more, as you will see as we go on. Oxygen, well, that includes exercise, breathing, detoxing, other oxidative therapies. We'll talk about what those are near the end of this series of slides. And rest. That could be actually sleeping. It could be yoga, mindfulness, just being more aware, meditation, prayer, and having time to play as well as work. So it really is basic biology. Although complex, the innate and adaptive immune systems work together to provide quick responses to new and old pathogens using the tools provided by, you guessed it, nature. So that's what we want to focus on. What can we do naturally to help the immune system function better, along with the occasional need for medications, antibiotics, antivirals, various help from, the hospital and other specialists. But the immune system has been shaped and refined by natural selection over eons of time. So let's look at the two main parts of the immune system. We'll go into a little bit of detail here. If you're bored with this part and you don't want to hear about it, you can, go further. But I find this really interesting that we have innate immunity. You may have heard that term throughout the last few years, dealing with a viral situation we had, and adaptive immunity. So innate immunity, it works like a sentinel system, like soldiers, ready to respond at a moment's notice to whatever intruder might be there. The cell death that's associated with the innate immune killer cells that detect infections starts a whole cascade of several important signals that the adaptive immune system then picks up. So then the adaptive immune system picks up these signals from the innate immune system and gets to work producing cells that tag other cells infected with the virus, bacteria, or foreign proteins. So then the innate immune system, just so you know what it consists of, is white blood cells with very specialized cells that remove toxic substances and foreign pathogens. Many are phagocytic, like they go along and eat things up, or macrophages, monocytes, neutrophils, and dendritic cells. These cells engulf and destroy. That's the phagocytic part. Chemical mediators called cytokines, which recruit the blood cells and other molecules to inflamed or infected areas of the body. Then there's the physical barriers, like your stomach with the stomach acid and the gut lining. Those are examples. I'll talk a little bit later about leaky gut, because that's a situation we have in a lot of people who have not taken care of themselves for a long, long time, or who have a particular disease state or lots of allergies. And that can make it hard to ward off these different pathogens. So the adaptive immune system, this system uses immunologic memory to activate a response to a foreign pathogen. When activated, the adaptive immune system releases antibodies. You've probably heard of antibodies, and other molecules to identify and destroy pathogenic organisms. This adaptive immune response takes more time than the innate response. That the cells that are activated by this system are called B and T cells. You may have heard of those, so let's talk a little bit more about those. In the adaptive immune system, B cells are from the lymph system. When they see a foreign substance or a pathogen, they bind it and begin to mature. The B cells can then make antibodies specific for a virus or bacteria. They help neutralize the pathogenic organism. So T cells are released from the bone marrow, and those migrate to the thymus gland. Now, the thymus gland is a gland that sits under your breastbone way up here, and that's where these T cells mature. The T cells mature into what's called CD4 or CD8 cells. They don't produce antibodies, but they can bind to a foreign substance or a pathogen. Pathogen is just another word for something that's bad for your body, like a virus or a bacteria or a parasite or something that your body does not want there and can cause trouble. Once bound, the T cells then will release chemicals to stimulate the B cells and the innate immune system to become active. So it's kind of like they're helping each other out all the time. And this aids in the neutralization and removal of a pathogen or foreign substance. CD8 cells, those are the other type of T cells, can kill infectious organisms and kill viral infected cells. Both B and T cells have immunologic memory and can respond to another exposure later on. So that's where the memory part comes in. So the key to winning the battle of infection is having a strong immune system that can neutralize and remove a pathogenic agent. An unhealthy immune system, well, that's going to struggle with this task. And that's why I'm going to tell you how to keep your immune system healthy. It's super important. And that goes for your gut, your teeth, your brain, to avoid cancer, so many things. We'll go on and you'll see. So what does influence immunity? Well, the short answer is literally everything. The long answer, well, let's just put it in a nutshell. Diet, food sensitivities, allergies, exercise, attitude, hormones, toxins, gut health, sleep, thyroid, adrenals, other hormones, aging, antioxidants, supplements, stress, a positive mental attitude, and literally the ability of your cells and the mechanisms inside your cells to make energy. Energy in our world we refer to as ATP, adenosine triphosphate. You have to be able to make this to make the cells work and do what they're supposed to do, which then allows them to detoxify and utilize oxygen in your tissues. And there's many ways at our clinic that we do that, but you can do it in many ways at home, just starting with your diet. So let's look at what makes the immune system weak. Lack of sleep. That's really, a bad one here in America. We push ourselves so hard, and so many people have so many things on their minds all the time, and there's a lot of stress, and that makes lack of sleep. Excess sugar is huge. Sugar and high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup, I heard recently, has mercury in it. It's part of how they make it. And it's in all those sodas, all those tasty little gems you love, but are really bad for you. If you got sleep and got rid of sugar and, started eating lots of, 5, 6, 7 vegetables per day with adequate protein and controlled your stress, you'd probably be a lot healthier. Others are genetically modified foods, poor oxygen utilization at your tissues. That's not always just, somebody who has bad lungs or something. It's somebody who they're so sick and their body's trying to get rid of so many toxins and so much junk and handle sugar and handle inflammation from all these things being off that, they can't use oxygen as well, or they're using it all up doing these crazy things. Poor energy production, we talked about that, ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, that all cells have to make. They have little factories in there called mitochondria, 2,000-ish per each cell. So there's trillions and trillions of them. Other toxic exposures are bad too, like fossil fuels, pesticides, solvents, air pollution, food additives, colorings, tobacco. Oh my gosh, if you smoke, please stop smoking. It's one of the worst things for your immune system. Heavy metals like lead, mercury, aluminum, cadmium, nickel, and arsenic. These are in more places than you would think, and I usually will find them in almost everybody to some degree, but some people it's way worse than others because of their job or some exposure to something they've done in their past or somewhere they lived in their past. Diets high in processed foods, we talked about that a little bit. Poor attitude, outlook. If you're negative, depressed, we got to start getting you more joy in your life. There are ways to change that, and it's not as hard as you would think. I mean, remember, a lot of this is in here. You have to put your mind in a place that says, I can do this. And you keep telling yourself that until it actually happens. And it's amazing how much, if you just smile, if you whistle, if you sing, if you try to seek out joyous things, you create joy in your life. Don't expect it to just come to you. Also stress, especially chronic stress. If you're in bad situations, please figure out how to get out of them or make them better. Overuse of antibiotics. Antibiotics are very, very helpful. But we need to make sure we protect the gut or do things to clean up the gut after we've used them. And we always do that at the NHIC. Overuse of medications, poor gut health, overweight, obesity, a big problem in America, hormonal imbalances, severe infections, or a history of lots of infections, and aging, of course. So unhealthy Americans, I alluded to this earlier, there's a lot of problems in the last many decades where we found that about 2/3 of Americans are overweight, and then about 1/3 of Americans are obese. There are too many chronic illnesses like diabetes, cancer, hypertension, heart disease, and autoimmune disorders. And all of these really are disease states that are on the rise in younger populations. And in comparison to other Western countries, nearly every category used to measure health in a society, such as infant mortality, maternal mortality, chronic illness, longevity, in those categories, Americans often finish last or next to last. And we're about 30-something in the being graded on our health and our wellness here in America, which, is sad because we have the best medical system in the world, but we shouldn't be utilizing it that much. We should be taking better care of ourselves, and our bodies are our responsibility. So we have to learn by watching videos like this how to take care of our bodies. So there is hope. There's a lot we can do. Integrative medicine to the rescue. We can help unhealthy patients reverse their trend toward disease and improve their health and improve their healthy lifespan too. We don't want people to just live longer. We want them to be healthier, longer, and into their 80s and 90s. And I've seen it happen before. In over 25 years of practicing integrative medicine and family practice, I've seen this over and over again. It really can be done. And part of it is just you making the decision that that's what you want, and we get together as a team and we make it happen. Even Hippocrates talked about this. Natural forces within us are the true healers of disease. Hippocrates lived almost 2,500 years ago, and he's accepted as being the father of modern medicine. Among other things, he moved the practice of medicine away from superstition to careful observation, positioning of the patient in a holistic context where the patient has an integrated relationship with his environment and the physician who is managing his disease. And hopefully we don't have to manage disease. That's our goal, is to restore your health as naturally as possible. So let's talk about what strengthens immunity. A healthy lifestyle and a positive attitude, knowing that something can be done about it. And finding those things, reducing the intake of allergic foods, sugars, fried foods, processed and chemicalized foods, staying away from gluten and excess grains. We find this all the time at our clinic. It comes up really regularly as something that is, a sensitivity. I would say if people really give it a try and do 6 months off their allergic foods, they will see a difference. But if they're just going to kind of dabble in it and not really do the diet, we're not going to see those great results. You really have to give your body a break from these things in order to see success. Also, eating 5 to 7 green and red veggies per day. I'm not talking about potatoes and corn. Those are too starchy. They're going to raise your blood sugar too much. It's not that you can never have them. I do eat them on occasion, but they're a rare thing, more seasonally. And when I eat them, I don't eat tons and tons of them. I just eat a small serving. Staying active, exercising regularly. Supplements, taking the basics, multi, fish oils, vitamin D, and most of the time you're going to need calcium, magnesium, or just magnesium, depending on the person. And not just any calcium. We've, kind of given calcium a bad rap as far as it being related to heart disease. Well, not all calcium is related to heart disease. It depends what's happening in this body. What is the pH of this body? What other kinds of foods are you eating? What form of calcium, etc. Specialized treatments, we do a lot of those at our office. Nutritional IVs like the Myers cocktail and the Gabby Wright IV, I'll tell you about that later. IV vitamin C, IV ozone. It's interesting how we do IV ozone by putting it in the person's blood and in a bag separate from their body and running it back into them. Ultraviolet blood irradiation, very interesting. If you listen on, you'll hear about that. Hocket ozone sauna, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and more. And so harnessing these natural forces within us, yes, nutrition, hydration, exercise, stress reduction, sleep, sun, vitamin D, dietary supplements, intestinal health, detoxification, maybe even some essential oils, that's also known as aromatherapy, hormonal balance, thyroid support, adrenal support, acupuncture, regular body work. I do osteopathic manipulation because I'm an osteopath and I'm also board certified in that. But if it's chiropractic you like, fine. Or massage, Rolfing, physical therapy, any kind of body work, moving your body regularly, that is so important. And IV nutritional support if you need it. Sometimes this time of year, coming up on the fall and flu season, winter, when you're going to be inside with a lot of crowds and things like that, where things can get past easily, some of my patients will come in every 1 or 2 weeks to get a nutritional IV to support their immune system, or IV ozone. I have people that do IV ozone weekly or monthly all throughout the year just to stay healthy. And ultraviolet blood irradiation. Many of my patients do that, or they combine it with the ozone. I will say nutrition is super important. It's just like one of the single most important things that you totally have control over. It's back to you are what you eat. It's not just a phrase. What you eat is the single most important influence on the state of your immune health, your immune system, and your general health. And nutrition is the fuel that maintains, drives, detoxifies, and repairs the human body and every organism on earth. Human illness and disease really are the result of nutritional imbalances. So, I don't know if this looks familiar to you. This is a great documentary if you've never seen it. I used to show this regularly at my clinic. But this poor guy, he was a vegan, and then he ate supersized McDonald's meals every single day for a month. And in that month, his liver enzymes went up, and he gained 25 pounds. And it took him 5 months to get everything back down to normal. So if you have a problem with fast food, we can help you with that. We're not going to, go shopping with you or anything, but, you need to learn that it is possible to say no to this. You don't need to eat there several times a week. I mean, in a pinch, maybe on a vacation or something, we might stop and get a salad at a place like this, but we are not going to eat this food regularly in our family. We know that it's just not healthy. It's not a long-term health promoting item. We make probably 90% of our own food. I pack my own lunch. I've been doing it for 40 years, if not more. Hydration. Now, water is super important. Some people need more than others. I do struggle myself. I'm almost 60, and it's always been difficult for me because I'm such a busy person. So I try to drink a lot of water in the morning and then sips throughout the day. And then at the end of my day, I drink, a couple, bottles, probably two or three, 20 to 30 ounces at least. And then, hopefully by the end of the day, I have 60 to 70 ounces in. Now, you've heard that at least half of all the fluids you drink in a day should be water. More is better. For every cup of coffee you drink, you should drink an additional half cup of water. Um, do your best to drink purified or a very clean source of mineral water. Some people say that you drink a half of your body weight in water, and some people can do it, but for most people that's quite difficult, especially if you're older. Then you have to urinate more frequently. And it does take a little bit of your body just getting used to it, so please try to get at least 60 to 70 ounces a day, and it will detoxify you. Stress reduction. Happy people are just far less likely to get sick, and this has been shown in many studies that, if they show happy movies and they collect the tears from those people, they have more immunoglobulins in them. If they show sad movies, they have less immunoglobulins in them, so in the tears that are collected. So many different experiments have been done over the years showing that stress is not good. It increases inflammation, it increases cortisol, that makes it difficult to maintain a normal weight, and it just sets all of these crazy chain reaction things happening throughout your body, causing damage and causing uh, inflammation mostly, that just your body has to somehow deal with. And then too, when you can get your stress reduction under control, it does take time to reset that because it's like a stimulus response sort of thing. All organisms do have a common biological response to negative sensory and psychological stressors. The human body can tolerate this as long as it doesn't happen too often. A little bit of stress is good. It makes us get things done under pressure, and it can, help us stay excited about something that we're, passionate about. But unfortunately, in today's world, it's just happening way too often and lasting for way too long. So you'll have to do a little self-examination to see, what that means for you. But there are some good stress busters: joining a social group, talk to a friend, have a close friend, make a close friend, maintain friendships, maintain a healthy balance of food. We just talked about that. Participate in both activity and good sleep. Keep a daily gratitude journal, or just when you get up in the morning, say, gosh, I'm so glad I'm here. Thank you for this beautiful day. And think of the people that you are grateful for. Call them up and tell them. Meditation, yoga, exercise, prayer, listen to some good music, dance. Dance like nobody's watching, right? Aromatherapy. I love peppermint and lavender, two of my favorite scents. Acupuncture is very calming and relaxing. Our acupuncturist and oriental medicine physician, Dr. Flynn, has techniques for stress specifically. And my favorite, you have to laugh a lot. And that means watching lots of funny movies. It really does make a difference. It's been shown in several studies. Sleep. Sleep is reparative, restorative, it's detoxing. That's where, in the acupuncture system, they do talk about the various, every 2 hours, a certain organ system detoxifies. Sleep deprivation for just 2 to 3 days can cause serious lapses in mental function, anxiety, irritability, and or cause a psychotic break. So, that's why they make pilots, get enough sleep between trips, and other captains of other vessels. They have to be well rested in order to do what they do. And you want to get at least 6 to 8 hours per night. I guess the sweet spot is 7 hours. This will vary from person to person, but you definitely don't want to chronically go on 3 to 4 hours of sleep. You want to do something to get that in line so that you can have good health and mental function. Practice good sleep hygiene. Avoid overstimulation in the evening after 8 p.m. Limit TV and computer work and avoid eating after this time. The bedroom should be completely dark and should be used for sleep. No computer work, TV, other electronics, reading, or excessive light, especially if you're having trouble sleeping. Avoid sugar, caffeine, and chocolate after 8 p.m. Chocolate, even though it's okay to have a treat of, maybe, a small square of chocolate, make sure it's the darkest chocolate you can get. And if you don't mind getting chocolate that's like Lily's chocolate, that's just sweetened with erythritol and stevia, that would be even better. Avoid sugar, caffeine, chocolate after 8 p.m. So I already said that. Control airborne allergies with dust covers, minimal carpeting, use air cleaners, ask about natural sleep aids if you're having difficulty, and we have quite a few of those. Here's our list. GABA, ashwagandha, Calm CP. Those are some of my favorites. Copa Distress is very nice too. It's our newest one that's good for children and adults. And I also use GABA in children. Rescue Remedy is a homeopathic. Calms Forte is another homeopathic. Melatonin, as some of you may have tried. If you've tried it before and it hasn't worked for you, maybe you're somebody that needs somewhere in the upper range of 1 to 20 milligrams instead of just 1 milligram. Maybe you need 5, or maybe you need 10. It's really safe to use that amount over time. I've read various things that worry that your brain gets dependent on it, but there's nothing that definitely proves that. I've had many people who've taken very high dosages for various reasons, and when they stop, it's fine. You just don't want to go from 0 to 20 or 0 to 80, because if you do, you could have some really wild dreams or nightmares. There's various sleep teas. There's Mintran from Standard Process. Nucera is a quick chewable. That works very quickly if you're waking up in the middle of the night or you just can't turn your mind off at night. And it's chewable, so it works quickly. So there's lots of these, and we have a whole handout. You can call the office for the Sleep and Stress Aids handout. So many people ask me, do I really need a multivitamin? Many people come in with lists and lists of individual vitamins, and they just think they're getting everything they need. But if you look at your list of B complex, vitamin C, D, etc., many times you're missing things like the minerals, like zinc, manganese, enough magnesium. There's selenium. Every good multivitamin has a couple hundred of selenium in it. And also the antioxidants. Many people think they're taking so many things, but they're not getting individual A, C, E, and selenium, the other antioxidant, also a mineral. So the short answer is absolutely yes. The long answer is sometimes we have to find the right vitamin for you so that it doesn't bother your stomach, or that it's not too stimulating or too much for you. But you do need a multivitamin, and the question is, why do you need it? Well, let's look at some of the things that are important for your immune system. Well, hey, look at that. Vitamin A, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B12, folic acid, vitamin C, vitamin E, iron, magnesium, selenium, zinc, essential fatty acids, and proteins. And I'm sure there's more, but this is what I found in one study. And all of these, except iron and the essential fatty acids and proteins, are really all in high quality multivitamin, multimineral formulas. So multivitamins also show in studies of 5, 10, and 20 years that the study groups that took the multivitamin, multimineral always had less disease and better overall health. A British study showed that taking a multivitamin, multimineral daily in just 4 to 12 weeks, that's not very long, 4 to 12 weeks, showed improved cognitive function with increased accuracy and speed on a multitasking test in women and men, and the same for children in attention-based tasks. So if you want to go check it out, nutraingredients-usa.com. Amazing. Now, I'm not going to go over all of these individually because that would make my lecture like an hour and a half long. But I'll just list these out, and you can take a screenshot, or you can come back to this later on YouTube. Alpha-lipoic acid, arginine 23 silver hydrosol, astragalus, one of my favorites, it's in our immune defense. B-complex, as we saw in the multivitamin explanation, that is important for your immune system. Carnitine, chlorella, spirulina, these superfoods that you hear about, try to make them part of your diet. Coenzyme Q10, wow. It's not just for people over 50. If you're tired, you should be taking coenzyme Q10, or if you have post-viral syndrome, you should be taking CoQ10 as well. Curcuminoids, like our Meriva SF, I think it's called now, we changed the name, Meriva SF, is very well absorbed. Garlic, simple, you can eat it or you can take it as a supplement. L-glutamine heals the gut lining but also helps cravings and helps immunity. It enhances immunity. Green tea extract and monolaurin, one of our favorite natural antivirals, but it also has antifungal, antibacterial, and immune boosting activities. And I like to kind of rotate these things around and not always take the same things. NAC is another natural antihistamine precursor to glutathione, which detoxes you. So you're killing two birds with one stone there, and it helps the liver and the lungs. It's in our Hist Assist. Probiotics, important to get good quality, fresh and reputable, 20 billion plus per day, and for children about half that dose unless they're really sick for some reason or sick a lot. Selenium, like I said earlier, 200 micrograms per day. Sometimes we do more. You can check this one in the blood. So a lot, not all of these, but many of these the nutrients can be checked in the blood. Transfer factor multi-immune is one of my all-time favorites. It's got several different immune boosters in it. It does come from bovine, so if you're vegan and you don't want any animal products, that wouldn't be the one for you. Maybe immune defense would be better for you. It's got astragalus, European elder, andrographis, echinacea, lysine, and more. I skipped over a couple there, but you can read these later on your own. Vitamin A, beta-carotene, that should be in a multivitamin together. Usually most of it is going to be beta-carotene because you can never overdose on that. You could get too much vitamin A, but it's actually pretty hard to do. Especially if you have liver problems or lung problems or you're a tobacco smoker. Probably don't want to overdo the vitamin A, which is also known as retinol palmitate. If you are acutely ill, though, you can take 6,000 to 10,000 units of retinol palmitate, and you'll see on our immune boosting and viral illness protocol that's on there. In third world countries, they give little kids 100,000 units a day. Yes, you heard that right, 100,000 units a day for 10 days for measles, and it actually works. So it's actually really safe, and if you're sick, you're going to burn up more of this. So vitamin A is not so treacherous. Everybody's so scared of it. We are a little more careful with pregnant women and children, but it's so well tolerated. Vitamin C, everybody knows about vitamin C. Should be taking 1,000 a day all the time, but up to 5,000 a day if you're sick. Over 2,000 a day can cause diarrhea, so just be careful about that. Listen to your body. We also have liposomal vitamin C at the clinic, so that is not going to cause any kind of diarrhea. If you have that problem with supplements, liposomal may be the way to go for you. And then there is zinc. Zinc, we found out a lot about that the last few years. And I tested a lot of people, and a lot of people were low on this or low in the range. And in the blood range, it's usually 95 or above is ideal. You want it to be mid-range or higher. Um, so it's usually safe for everybody to take at least 25 milligrams per day. Little kids, I usually give them 10 to 20 milligrams per day. If they're sick, they can handle, a little bit more. And let's go through some of my favorite supplements. This slide you might want to just take note of. The ones in bold, Chondroplex, Immuplex, Echinacea, Immune Defense, Essential Defense, ImmuCore, Transfer Factor Multi-Immune, those will all increase those T cells and natural killer cells. We didn't even talk about natural killer cells, but those are so important for helping your body to fight off foreign invaders. And then as you can see there, we've got oregano, Cantibactin BR, that's a combination of a couple of other things, and berberine, and Ultra MFP Forte, olive leaf, iodine. We have iodoral, and we also have iThroid. I don't have the iThroid here. I'm not sure if you can see this because of the reflection, but this is our bottle of iodoral. There, you can kind of see it there. But this is really reliable. It's nice. It's a 12.5 milligram, and we can break that in half if we want to or need to. Chondroplex and Immuplex, those products are always going to come in brown bottles. These are from Standard Process, and these have the thymus gland extract in them, so they're going to make your thymus gland work better. They're going to help you fight off infection more easily. And then Orthomune is kind of one of my becoming one of my favorites because it has zinc, quercetin D, and I think it has some C in there too, and N-acetylcysteine. So for you people that just hate taking lots of pills, at least if you take 3 a day or 2 a day of these, you're going to be getting a good base of things, especially when you're sick. I would probably even take 4 a day when you're sick. But that's got all those goodies in it to help you with viral infection and help your immune system. This is the immune defense I talked about earlier. This is the one that has astragalus and lysine and echinacea and andrographis in it. It's got just tons of my favorites in it. And this would be totally vegan. So we also have ImmuCore. ImmuCore has got, this is Metagenics, and this will have some mushroom extracts in it. And Essential Defense also will. That's another Metagenics product, Essential Defense. And GlutaProtect is one of our glutamine products. We have plain L-glutamine, but this is really our top of the line for healing the gut lining. It's got aloe and slippery elm as well as glutamine in it. And then we have our NAC. This is my favorite. I take 3 of these every day because I did find out in the last 10 years I have low glutathione, and this actually raised it. I have the blood work to prove it. And it also is a great antihistamine. I take it because I have allergies, and spring and fall that's harder for me. And they've really been a lot better since I've cut down on the grains, cut down on too many dairy products. I don't give them all up. For a time I did, but now I just eat very little grains and very little sugar, and I take this every day, and it really helps because it's like a natural antihistamine and it detoxifies you. So those are some of my favorites. I wanted to talk just a little bit more about iodine. Iodine has been proven to be a potent inactivating agent to the influenza virus. So really good to know. And most people really can take a whole 12.5 milligram per day. Now, some people, if you're super sensitive, you may want to get Lugol's iodine, and you can take those in the form of drops, either 2% or 5%. We also use those in hydrogen peroxide nebulizer treatments. But iodine is pretty amazing. I've had many, many, many people tell me that when they were sick, their congestion and drainage just literally stopped, or their breathing got better when they did the hydrogen peroxide nebulizer treatments with iodine. We have that recipe on our website, and in this lecture I'll show it to you real quick too. But in 1918, during the H1N1 influenza pandemic, iodine was found to be one of the most effective antiviral agents. Iodine improves lymphatic flow. Its supplementation has been shown to increase IgG, that's immunoglobulin G, in human lymphocytes. And iodine deficiency is associated with decreased phagocytic activity of blood neutrophils. So if you don't have enough iodine, that's not going to work well. It's also great for women that have fibrocystic breast changes. And it's been shown to increase white blood cell ability to kill infectious organisms. So a really awesome supplement. Sun and vitamin D, of course, we all know this is great. Your blood level should be at least 50 to 70. Some people a little bit higher, especially those who've had cancer, should be 70 to 90-ish. All adults should take at least 2,000 a day. If you don't have the capacity to have that blood checked, we can do it for $26 at our office. But children, 1,000 units per day. But you really should get your level checked, because then if you need more or not. I find all the time that patients need 5,000 to 10,000 IU per day here in Michigan. If you live in a warmer climate, it's very possible you might not need quite as much, or if you spend a lot of time out in the summer. That's why we try to check levels winter and summer for our patients. But it also enhances your mood, it's important for bone density, and it has a nice side effect of reducing inflammation. I learned in the last 2 years that it does help your white blood cells make their own antimicrobials, and vitamin D reduces inflammatory cytokines, and vitamin D increases anti-inflammatory cytokines. Very important functions, and again, just an easy way to help your body to help itself. Perfect for flu season, perfect for any infections, so keep those levels up and get yours checked. Here's just a snapshot of our immune boosting protocol. If you go to nhicwestmi.com website, you can find this. I think it's under About and then Resources. And this is just a basic protocol that you can be on in the wintertime, and then you can add an immune booster, and then it tells you what to do if you start getting sick. And then you can also see our viral illness protocol on there too. And the thymus gland. I talked about this a little bit when I mentioned the Immuplex and the Conjuplex. It is the master gland of the immune system. It releases hormones that regulate many immune functions. If these are low, then you're going to be more susceptible to infection. And infection is greater in the elderly and people with chronic medical conditions. The thymus is involved in making those T cells, a special type of lymphocyte or white blood cell. And antioxidants, vitamin C, vitamin E, beta-carotene, selenium, and zinc help to maintain a healthy thymus. It sounds like you might need a multivitamin. So T cells produced in the thymus gland are like the special forces of the immune system. In medicine, the medical term for the work of the T cells is called cell-mediated immunity. The production of T cells by the thymus creates resistance to many viruses. Supporting the function of the thymus gland boosts immunity and overall health. T cells are part of the adaptive immune system, as mentioned earlier in this talk. Thymus gland extracts, like Conjuplex and Immuplex, they have an amazing ability to balance and enhance immunity. In conditions where the T cells are low, like immune deficiency diseases, cancer, chronic infections, thymus gland extracts will enhance T cell production. So in conditions where the T cells are high, in other words, the special forces are out of control, thymus gland extracts will diminish T cell production, normalizing it. So these extracts kind of work to balance the T cell function. We refer to this balancing role as a broad spectrum immune enhancer. So Conjuplex and Immuplex contain these extracts. They are from bovine, so if you're vegan and you absolutely cannot do that, I understand. You can do astragalus, you can do mushroom extracts and other things like that. It's not going to necessarily directly help the thymus gland, but those things will help a lot too. Such extracts like this contain the gland's steroid and hormone precursors, enzymes, coenzymes, and synergistic cofactors produced by the cell. The main purpose of these tissue extracts is to support the patient's hormone-dependent tissue functions until the tissue is able to do it itself. And we have also, going on to essential oils, aromatherapy. I'm not an aromatherapy expert. We use them in our Hocket ozone sauna because it has a little area in the sauna where the steam comes up through there and it makes aromatherapy. You can choose whatever essential oil you like. We have a whole list of them and it tells what they do when you come in for that. But also it's in Biocidin. Biocidin, it's a extract of various aromatherapies along with echinacea and I forget all the different, I think there's garlic in there, maybe some oregano. It's funny, it sounds like it's going to taste spicy or taste yucky, but it actually has a very pleasant taste. If you get the liquid form, it actually also breaks down biofilms that are sometimes made by these organisms that it can hide the organism. So Biocidin, the liquid, will break that down. The capsules will too, probably a little bit less efficiently, but it does come in capsule form as well. And we really like it. We use it for candida overgrowth. We use it for just general immunity. We use it for just general infections, viral illnesses. This is one of my immune supplements, one of my favorites, actually. I should have put it on my favorites list. So, what to do when you're sick? If you do go to the website, nhicwestami.com, go to the About tab at the top, click on the Patient Resource Center, and then scroll down and you'll see immune boosting protocols or immune support for viral illness. It basically, this is a snapshot of what it tells you there about high doses that you can take for 5 days of vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin D, zinc, and quercetin and iodine or some other immune booster. And read the fine print because pregnant women and infants and children don't want to do the high loading doses of A and D, but especially D. And here's our hydrogen peroxide nebulizer treatments with iodine. It's so easy to make on your own. I've heard that some people just do it straight out of the bottle, 3%. I probably wouldn't do that because it can be kind of irritating to the back of your throat. But if you dilute it 1 tablespoon of the 3% hydrogen peroxide in 8 ounces of purified water, this is your base solution. You just take a teaspoon of that, put it in the little well that's in the nebulizer. And this is if you don't know what a nebulizer is, it's a machine that gives out a mist and gives you a breathing treatment. They're used for asthma and things like that. But this is just to do the diluted hydrogen peroxide. And you, in that little well, once you put the teaspoon of the diluted hydrogen peroxide in there, you put 1 drop of Lugol's iodine, either 2% or 5%. And then you let it run for about 10 minutes. And there's a mask that you wear and you breathe it in and it really gets in there. And in the places like in the nose, especially where viruses and bacteria get in very easily, it will kill them right there and it'll help you get rid of a lot of mucus. And many people say they breathe better. You can get a nebulizer on Amazon for about $60 in 1 day usually. Don't get the handheld ones. I've not had good luck with them. They break very easily. And you can do it up to 3 times a day very safely. I did want to talk a little bit about the immune system. I only have about 10 minutes left, but I just wanted to let you know the intestinal system is so important. It's like one of your first defenses. It's a huge surface area. If it's not clean, if it's not working well, then you're not going to have great immune health. So intestinal health does equal immune health. And that's because there's gut-associated lymphatic tissue, or GALT, down there. They say 60 to 70% of the immune system is located in the gut. And when I say they, I mean the scientists that study intestinal permeability. Those are usually gastroenterologists that specialize in this sort of thing. And it just has a huge amount of lymphatic tissue down there. And that is what cleans up the wastes from your body. If you don't know about lymphatic tissue, it's amazing. It's one of the things that the original osteopathic physician, A.T. Still, that's my profession, osteopathic medicine, that's the school I graduated from. He knew more about the lymphatics back in the late 1800s than most people do now. So intestinal health is very important. Eating a healthy diet, you can see on the one side of the screen, creates a healthy gut that's got good bacteria and it's cleaned up. It doesn't have those microscopic cracks in there where the toxins are just getting sucked back in. But if you have a diet of drugs, ice cream, hamburgers, fried food, junk food all the time, yeah, you're going to have some degree of leaky gut. And when you get leaky gut, what happens is this is a schematic. It doesn't actually look like this, but you're going to have microscopic holes in the intestine that the toxins are going to just go right through, and your liver's going to have to process all of them again. And it's very stressful on the body, and it increases the inflammation in your body. And a lot of people, they'll feel yucky or tired or get more headaches or more joint pain just because they have leaky gut. And there's a lot of conditions that, these symptoms could be leaky gut. Arthralgias or joint aches, anxiety, brain fog, memory deficits, depression, fatigue, frequent urination, malaise, myalgias are muscle pains, heart palpitations, pruritus is itchy skin, skin rashes, seizures. And I bolded the phlebitis, vasculitis, and fever of unknown origin because those are definitely inflammation. But those are some of the things you might see. And also people with acne, if they feel like they're aging quickly, if they're, if they have a problem with alcohol, if they have autoimmune disorders like ankylosing spondylitis, or if you have asthma, autism, frequent candida infections, celiac disease, chemical sensitivities, chronic fatigue, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, cystic fibrosis, eczema, irritable bowel syndrome, all of these things. And here's some more common conditions that are associated with leaky gut. So just know that if you have these things, you might want to have your practitioner take a look at your gut. And, traditional medicine doesn't really have a tool for this. Unfortunately, the stool analysis that's done like at a hospital lab is very limited. The ones that we do at our office tell us lots and lots of information about your good bacteria, about your inflammatory status, about your digestion. And we use the 4R program to repair the gut, remove the bad stuff, replace the good stuff like digestive enzymes and such, reinoculate with good probiotics, and restore the digestive mucosa integrity with the proper nutrients. And we know how to do that at the Natural Health Improvement Center. We do tests like this one. This is a stool analysis, and you can see how much information we have here to create a program for you, and then we can recheck it and see if it's good. And this all filters down into your liver. Again, we talked about the liver having to recycle these toxins if you have leaky gut. The liver is the largest organ in the abdomen, and it's in the right upper quadrant under your rib cage. It's associated with the gallbladder, and both those are intimately associated with the intestines to help, digestion, fat digestion, and to filter out any waste products. And the liver does all kinds of things. It detoxifies things. It makes cholesterol. It humanizes everything we put in the body. And it has amazing abilities, amazing cleaning and healing powers, but we have to be kind to it and treat it well and detoxify it. So in my opinion, it's kind of like detoxification is like vacuuming your house and doing your laundry and washing your dishes and taking out the garbage. You want to do this on a regular basis twice a year. Although daily, like I take my N-acetylcysteine, some people might want to take alpha lipoic acid because it's good for sugar control and good for peripheral neuropathy. But also take your basics that we talked about, multi, fish oils, vitamin D, maybe a magnesium and or calcium. Drink that water, exercise, sweat in a sauna 3 to 5 days per week if you can. Sleep is very important too. And especially chronically ill patients, they need to detoxify regularly. A deeper detoxing is the Ultra Clear Plus or Ultra Clear Renew. We have these in 10-day kits and 21-day kits. My staff can tell you how to do it. It's very easy. We have a handout that goes along with it. We have some other deeper detoxing for heavy metals, like chelation IVs, and we have an IV push called calcium EDTA, but we also have a longer IV that we use for vascular disease called disodium EDTA, and there have been studies on that. I'll be talking about that in a couple of months, how you detoxify. That's a whole hour lecture in itself. Hormonal imbalance, whether that's your thyroid, your adrenals, your male and female hormones, your human growth hormone, we can check all of those and we can balance them out. We're really experts. We've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing it for over 25 years, and one of my PAs has been doing it for that long also. But a nurse practitioner I have has been doing it for that long also. And then I have another nurse practitioner and a PA that I've taught basically everything I know. They can run the place when I'm gone. They're wonderful, and they care and they love about their patients like I do. And then body work on a regular basis. A.T. Still, the founder of osteopathy, who I have immense respect for, at age 64, he created the first osteopathic college of medicine. And he was an MD, but he just knew there was something more to it. So he's kind of created, a form of adjustments very similar to chiropractic, but around the same time chiropractic was developed as well. And he always said the rule of the artery is supreme, and that just means that flow of blood, flow of lymphatics, flow of any fluid in the body is dependent on, is the body able to move? Is it fluid? Does it, transport things the way it's supposed to? And he was an anatomical genius, and I really have a lot of respect for osteopathic philosophy and keeping the body working the way it should. And, he knew about exercise in the late 1800s. And still today, that to me, that's Dr. Auburn's magic pills. Exercise. It maintains healthy blood sugar, it burns calories, it protects and builds muscle, it burns calories and improves immunity, improves psychological factors, it improves lung, heart, and vascular health, and improves production of healthy hormone levels, and it reduces the risk of illness and even death. So just get out there and move, even if you can just walk a little or ride a bike or whatever. Acupuncture is another thing we have at our office. Dr. Flynn is our acupuncturist and oriental medicine doctor, and it does improve immune function by improving circulation, boosting immunity, addressing allergies to foods and environmental items, detoxification enhancement, stress relief, smoking cessation, increasing the level of circulating endorphins, the feel-good chemicals of the body. And last but not least, I want to talk for a few minutes about our IV nutritional supplementation. Like I say, many of our patients use these IVs preventatively, 1 IV per week in the late fall and winter. Some do it all year round. Depends what your goals are. I've had several people after having a viral illness, feeling kind of tired or having a latent cough or fatigue or shortness of breath. They might come in and get one of these per week and do like 6 to 10 of them. The basis for IV nutrient therapy is there's just no way that you can get the same levels by an oral route. There's just no way. For example, like vitamin C approaches an upper limit due to the saturation of the gastrointestinal absorption. And then there's a sharp increase in kidney excretion. So it really makes it impossible to reach the level of vitamin C that's effective for antiviral or antihistamine purposes if you take it orally. It still helps you orally, but it's going to help you a lot more if you get it intravenously. And it really takes no work on the part of the digestive system. It just, even if you take vitamin C and it makes you have diarrhea, it's not going to happen when you take it intravenously. It just won't, because you're getting it straight in through the veins right to the tissues. You can taste it immediately. You can taste the B vitamins immediately when you get one of these. And we have handouts on all of our IVs, so if you want, any one of these has its own handout. The Gabby Wright IV push takes 15 to 20 minutes, and the Myers cocktail takes 45 minutes. It's just that there's more things in the Myers cocktail. Generally, they contain magnesium, calcium, B complex, B5, B6, vitamin C, and the Myers also has trace minerals and B12, and you can get extra B12 put in the Gabby Wright if you pay a little bit more. Uses for the Gabby Wright and the Myers cocktail: asthma, allergies, seasonal allergies, chronic hives or itching, fatigue, chronic fatigue, migraines, headaches, muscle pain and spasms, fibromyalgia, upper respiratory viral infections, just for an immune boost or after an acute illness, improved athletic performance, for depression, for anxiety I've used it for as well, and for narcotic withdrawal. We don't see a lot of that at the clinic, but I have had people do that before. And then our half Felice amino acid IV. Just think repair when you think of amino acids in this IV. We call it the half Felice because it's named after Dr. D. Felice, who worked with Dr. Grant Bourne over at the Bourne Clinic to create this for cancer patients, but we use it now for severe fatigue, chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue, pre and post surgery or injury so that people heal better, broken bones, difficulty with healing, narcotic withdrawal, and an adjunct to cancer and radiation treatments, and to counteract negative side effects and preserve healthy tissue. If you're not healing after you have a dental procedure, or if you have gum disease and you're trying to clean that up with your dentist, that also can be used. IV vitamin C, there's over 1,200 medical and scientific journal articles written on this. There's usually one new article coming about daily. It has been and continues to be one of the most researched substances in the world. Dr. Thomas Levy wrote a book called Vitamin C, Infectious Diseases and Toxins, Curing the Incurable. The book reviews how IVC has been able to cure many incurable viral illnesses and other infectious diseases, as well as being the choice for many potentially fatal toxins that have no other form of treatment. And it has pretty much no side effects when it's done correctly with the correct buffers. And ICU physician Dr. Merrick has published papers on the use of IVC in septic patients in the hospital ICU, along with some other treatments as well. Ozone IVs, the reason I put the little QR code there is you can scan that. It'll take you to some videos that tell you more about ozone IVs and ultraviolet blood irradiation. We often do those together. We call them UBI with ozone. And it's just a fantastic treatment as an antiviral, anti-infective, but there's 13 things that it's actually been proven to do, ozone. And you might be asking, how does ozone get in the blood? Well, we take about 60 cc's of blood out of the patient, put it in a bag that has saline and some heparin, and that way the blood doesn't clot, and then we add the ozone to that, and the ozone gloms onto the red blood cells, and then that goes into the body and then starts a chain reaction of things that stimulate production of white blood cells, help interferon levels, stimulates the production of tumor necrosis factor, helps the secretion of IL-2, one of the cornerstones of the immune system, secreted by T helper cells. Ozone kills most bacteria at low concentrations. It's effective against all kinds of fungi and yeasts. It has amazing antiviral activity and has even been shown to help Ebola or cure Ebola. Ozone is anti-neoplastic, although we would not use that alone for that kind of treatment. We always use it as an adjunct to help the person's immune system fight any kind of cancer they might have. Helps to get rid of arterial plaque, increases the flexibility and elasticity of red blood cells so you have better blood circulation, helps the Krebs cycle, improving cellular energy production of that ATP we talked about earlier, and it increases the production of antioxidants and breaks down petrochemicals. And here it's sort of sister treatment, ultraviolet blood irradiation, also known as photoluminescence. This has been around for decades. It was extensively used in the 40s and 50s to treat many diseases: septicemia, pneumonia, tuberculosis, arthritis, asthma, even polio. And the early studies carried out by several physicians in the U.S. were published in the Journal of Surgery. However, with antibiotics, it kind of lost favor, and it's kind of the cure that time forgot. The mechanism is production of reactive oxygen species caused by the UV radiation, activation of phagocytes such as neutrophils, monocytes, and macrophages. We talked about that earlier, and alteration in the lymphocyte subsets, improving immune balance, and alteration in the secretion of cytokines, a marked increase in oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. So remember, nutrients, oxygen, and sleep. The only question is, how are you going to get there? We can help you at the NHIC. We love doing this. We love helping people. We just love taking care of people, and you just become part of our family when you come to our clinic, and we really take the time to listen to you and help you figure out what is the key 3 or 4 things that are going to help you get healthy. And we do have some really tough cases that take a long time, but many people turn around in months. So, if you're worried about aging or not being able to fight off infections as well this winter, or just keeping yourself healthy if you are healthy, that's another, thing to do. Remember, what you eat is most important. What you do with your body is very important. and get that water and that sleep in. But if you have some more challenges, or you want to know what else can I do to age gracefully and healthfully, come see us at the clinic. If you do have any questions, go ahead and put those down below in the chat, and in the next 1 to 2 business days, my staff will get back to you and get you the answers. And thank you so much for sticking with me for this 64 minutes. I appreciate that. And we'll do some shorter videos here coming up in the next year that will go over IVs and supplements and other things. We love to educate people and help you feel like you're empowered to take care of your own health and take responsibility for your body. Thank you for listening. Good night.